There's something about the mix of fame, power, and scandal that creates a narrative too compelling to ignore. He's being Puff. And when it comes to one of hip-hop's most iconic figures, Diddy Combs, the mix of criminal charges, wiretaps, leaked audio, and courtroom battles is almost too perfect for a true crime tale.
Audio has surfaced as part of a lawsuit that accuses Christian Holmes, Sean Diddy Combs' son, of sexual assault. The music mogul is not accused of sexual assault in the lawsuit, but is included over allegations of liability and aiding and abetting. The lawsuit cites audio from a makeshift recording studio on the yacht where the alleged assault happened. This is the latest in a series of lawsuits filed against the rap mogul and businessman. Both men, father and son, deny the allegations against them. CNN national correspondent Camila Bernal joining me live with details on this. Camila, what more are you learning?
Hey, Fred, so in this audio that CNN has listened to, you can specifically hear the accuser who alleges that she was being forced to take this tequila shot that she believed was laced with drugs.
In a moment of courtroom tension, Diddy's legal battle seems to have reached a breaking point. And with new audio leaks circulating, we find ourselves asking one question: did he finally crack? Sources indicate that the 55-year-old rapper experienced a meltdown while interrogated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, where he was taken for observation due to mental instability. The music mogul, arrested in September on charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, was reportedly hoping to secure bail. By now, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him, an insider told The Sun, noting that Combs managed to regain composure through meditation and deep breathing. Contrastingly, another source dismissed the meltdown claim, emphasizing that the father of Sa has remained resilient amidst serious allegations. A legal expert highlighted the significant disparity between Combs' previous lavish lifestyle and his current circumstances, stating the stark contrast. On the morning of September 16, 2024, Diddy Combs, one of the giants of the music industry, was arrested on serious charges.
Sources indicate that the 55-year-old rapper experienced a meltdown while incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, where he was taken for observation due to mental instability. The music mogul, arrested in September on charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking, was reportedly hoping to secure bail by now. Spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him, an insider told The Sun, noting that Combs managed to regain composure through meditation and deep breathing, although it took several hours to calm himself. Contrastingly, another source dismissed the meltdown claim, emphasizing that the father of 7 has remained resilient amidst serious allegations. A legal expert highlighted the significant disparity between Combs' previous lavish lifestyle and his current circumstances, stating the stark contrast.
It's not just the case itself that has turned heads. It's the way information continues to trickle out in waves that stir up not only suspicions, but also intrigue.
U.S. Justice Department unsealed charges against Combs on Tuesday that alleged he abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Prosecutors said that Combs, that's P. Diddy, that's his real name, carried out his scheme by relying on the employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, among other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors say that in times relevant to the indictment, Combs engaged in persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse towards women and other individuals. The abuse was at times verbal, emotional, physical, and sexual.
A new piece of audio has surfaced, igniting a firestorm of debate across social media. This audio, while not officially verified, is believed to feature not only Diddy, but a number of high-profile figures, including Meek Mill and Beyoncé, speaking on the allegations surrounding the rapper.
I think we all saw those headlines back in November 2023 of Cassie Ventura filing her lawsuit against P. Diddy. That's what got all of this steamrolling. And I've been following the case since then. And obviously we've seen in recent months there have been so many lawsuits against Diddy accusing him of drugging, and more than 40 of those. And a lot of them do date back to the 90s. So I've been looking into that area of his career in particular, trying to find out more about the makings of P. Diddy, or Puff Daddy, as he was known back then. and trying to find out from people who used to work with him and people in his inner circle, were there potentially early warning signs about some of the allegations that we're seeing now? And as I mentioned, some of these allegations of drugging and assault do go right back to the start of his career in the 1990s.
It's not only the content of the audio that captivates listeners and raises eyebrows, but the fact it has been leaked at such a crucial time in his trial preparations.
Told you from the jump that baby oil was a big thing in the whole Diddy scandal, that the Fed seized 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
And it is the thing that people have talked so much about because it was such a bizarre...
It's so odd. And remember, we spoke with Mark Agnifilo, his lawyer, on one of our documentaries, The Downfall of Diddy, on Tubi. And we asked him about it, and he didn't quite know what to say about it.
He kind of made a joke about it.
He kind of made a joke about it.
Right.
But now we know at least what one of the accusers in a civil lawsuit,
a brand new accuser,
a brand new one, is saying the purpose of the baby oil, and it's not what we thought.
No, this accuser, who is filed as a John Doe, says that the baby oil
is the latest audio leak, the crack that finally shatters the enigmatic facade of hip-hop's most powerful mogul.
Beyonce's audio leak admits participation in Diddy's parties. Are these signs she was involved all along? Recently, an audio recording of Beyonce was accidentally leaked, revealing that she not only admitted to frequently attending Diddy's parties, but also claimed that those who were harmed weren't entirely innocent. She stated that everyone who attended the parties did so voluntarily, insisting that no one was forced. She even suggested that any harm they suffered was ultimately
in one of the most captivating true crime sagas to hit the headlines, Diddy Combs now finds himself embroiled in a case that defies expectations and challenges the very fabric of celebrity power.
Emergency hospital visit came just hours after federal prosecutors slapped him with a superseding indictment in his federal sex trafficking RICO case, adding 2 more victims and extending the time period for investigators from 2008 going back to 2004, meaning they have 4 more years in order to continue investigating possible additional allegations. Now, all of this taking place, as it seems every week, there's another docuseries or documentary being cranked out about Diddy, which criminal defense attorneys who try cases in the Southern District here at the federal courthouse tell me can possibly taint potential juries that are going to hear this case when it gets going in May. Now, he will be back in the criminal case here in this courthouse in about 2.
The courtroom chaos unfolding in Manhattan's federal court has taken on an almost cinematic quality, as each new revelation deepens the mystery surrounding Diddy's legal battles and his once untouchable legacy.
P. Diddy leaves the Metropolitan Detention Center jail in Brooklyn. New reports say he was taken to the hospital for a few hours last week to get an MRI. We're just now learning about this, though, because Diddy was taken from the jail late at night, actually using the cover of darkness to keep his trip.
Although no conviction has been reached, the intensity of the proceedings suggests that the weight of numerous allegations, some dating back 2 decades, is beginning to take a toll on Diddy's composure.
Lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs continues to stack up, and it should be no surprise at all who the latest batch is coming from. That, of course, being Texas-based attorney Tony Buzbee. Now, Buzbee made his mission clear back in October that his firm planned to file more than 100 lawsuits against the disgraced mogul. But now he's in a rush to meet a March 1st deadline. Why? Because that's the last day the law in New York allows victims of past sexual assault file civil lawsuits despite the statute of limitations being up. So let's break down the latest allegations. Now, we have to mention these accusers did not use their real names in the court filings. Instead, they are referred to as Jane or John Doe. In John Doe's complaint, he alleges he was drugged and sexually assaulted at an after-party in Los Angeles.
Legal experts note that the intensity of courtroom drama in high-profile cases can sometimes lead to emotional outbursts, which in turn shift public perception and add a layer of unpredictability to the proceedings. The latest indictment, which now includes 3 counts accusing Diddy of trafficking and exploiting at least 3 women, casts a long shadow over his career.
Let's continue our attention of a major headline taking place in New York City and the pretrial hearing continuing on in this Sean Diddy Combs case. A pretrial hearing taking place some 138 days before trial. Let's be joined right now here on the ground in New York by Fox 5's Lisa Evers. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about what took place inside that courtroom today?
Well, Andy, everything so far is going very smoothly, but you can be sure that's going to change in the months ahead as they get close to that May trial date. But Sean Diddy Combs got a break today from the dismal lockdown atmosphere of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn by appearing here in federal court for this pretrial hearing.
Prosecutors allege that through his empire, including his iconic record label, Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy orchestrated what have been dubbed freak-offs, recorded sexual encounters involving the exploitation of women, often with the complicity of male sex workers.
Sean Combs' legal team has just raised, I would say, a new issue, sort of new issue to the court, and we're going to address it right now. And it concerns, of all things, believe it or not, access to a laptop while he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center, the MDC, where he's currently locked up while he's waiting trial next year. And before I even go into the defense's letter, I said it was new, but really, this is an issue that has come up before. You see, Sean Combs' defense lawyers, they have argued that the conditions at the MDC make it incredibly difficult for him to properly review evidence in the case and prepare for trial. And yes, he has a constitutional right to prepare for his trial. But they have been arguing for quite some time that because of the incredible amount of material in this case, you really can't do it without a laptop. He needs a laptop to review everything. I mean, this is a massive case.
Allegations further claim that Diddy employed a cocktail of illicit substances, ranging from Camin and ecstasy to methamphetamine and psychedelic mushrooms, to manipulate and control his victims, offering them promises of career advancement and financial support.
Other artists and executives at the label would request for women across the states to be flown into the studio for sex.
And it wasn't uncommon to fly women in from around the country. Well, not around the country, but they could be like a 2-3 hour flight away type of thing. To have sex with people in the studio.
However, the contrast between Diddy's once unassailable public persona and the grave nature of these allegations has created a media frenzy, turning every new development into a spectacle that blurs the lines between legal proceedings and headline-grabbing scandal markedly. Once the epitome of cool composure, he now appears visibly rattled, his responses tinged with emotion as he faces the weight of the charges.
Defendant Sean Combs, a prominent entertainment mogul, exploited his power to sexually, physically, and psychologically abuse plaintiff over more than 5 harrowing years. Combs caused plaintiff's life to spiral into a living nightmare.
Some legal insiders speculate that this emotional unraveling may be a calculated tactic by Diddy's defense to garner public sympathy. Or perhaps it is an authentic reflection of the immense personal toll these allegations have exacted.
Piece that we almost always see in pink or pink cocaine is ketamine, a dissociative drug, something that makes people feel like they're detached from reality. The second component is a psychedelics.
Bill Bodner is a former DEA agent. He says despite its name, oftentimes there is no cocaine in the toxic mix of drugs, which includes synthetics like ecstasy, methamphetamine, and benzodiazepines. The drug, also known as 2C, acts as both a stimulant and a depressant.
Very, very cheap to make, and they can kind of tailor the drug to what the drug user is looking for, the perceived effects that the drug user.
While some dismiss the recordings as a distraction, others argue that they could be the key to understanding a broader pattern of behavior that has defined Diddy's career for years.
Well, I'll tell you that yesterday in court, Sean Diddy Combs showed up smiling. His whole, well, not his whole family, his children, all of his children and his mother, who traveled from Florida, were there. Oftentimes he would turn around and look at them at the end of the hearing. He was blowing kisses at them and saying thank you. He was comforted by his attorneys. It was odd to see him smile so much. It seemed like he was optimistic, and many of us were wondering whether he would be bailed out. But there is still a bail appeal pending in his case after a judge had rejected a $50 million bail.
Detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, Diddy debate now hinges on the impending trial scheduled for May 5th in Manhattan federal court, a proceeding that promises to be a landmark moment in the ongoing debate over accountability in the entertainment industry.
I minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult and, I believe, inhumane housing conditions in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Detention Facility. And I'm going to do everything that I can to move his case as quickly as possible.
Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, has been unwavering in his stance, asserting that his client is fully committed to fighting the charges, and that the evidence presented thus far is a gross misinterpretation of consensual interactions.
And he was 19 when he got that job, and he rose to this really senior role as talent director. So that's where he got his start. And Jimmy was basically describing to me how Sean Combs had a bit of a temper. You know, he used the language that Sean Combs acted like a bratty kid in the office. You know, if he didn't get his way, he would bang his hands on the table. You know, he would start yelling like this kind of immature, naive 19-year-old. And, you know, Jimmy was thinking about some of those incidents. And, you know, at the end of our interview, when I spoke with him, he sort of said to me something that many people have been saying. You know, they've been questioning, did I know the real Sean Combs, a man who has constantly reinvented himself over the decades? And he said something really poignant. He said to me, you know what, Rihanna, people could think that Sean Combs is a...
Yet, as the trial date looms, the courtroom environment continues to mirror the intensity of a high-stakes drama, where every whispered conversation and every furtive glance becomes fodder for the media and a catalyst for public debate.
The U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence.
Consequences courtroom chaos in this context is not merely confined to legal maneuvers. It is a reflection of a broader cultural reckoning, where power, celebrity, and accountability collide in a spectacle that captivates millions. The unfolding narrative challenges our perceptions of what it means to be untouchable in an industry where P approaches analysts predict that every piece of new evidence, every leaked conversation will be scrutinized under an unforgiving public microscope. The outcome could redefine not only Diddy's legacy, but also the standards by which power and accountability are measured in the entertainment world. This case will alter Hollywood's power dynamics. Every celebrity that was involved with dirt and leverage on everyone around him. And allegedly, even Jay-Z was worried. Diddy kept compromising tapes on people that could expose him. Every major celebrity, politician, athlete, and even some members of the British royal family were allegedly being controlled by Diddy telling the truth. Is this the final puzzle piece in hip-hop's greatest murder mystery? Or is this just another case of a man trying to save himself by taking down one of the most powerful figures in entertainment?